Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Trainmasters office. I've seen Walthers Mainline locomotives sit around for a while and go for dirt cheap prices, and I'm kinda wondering why. So let's take a look at two of them and see why or why not they have sat around. I bought two Lake State Railway SD70Ms as I liked the paint scheme and wanted some locos to run my 1970s rolling stock with. Let's get this locomotive out of its box, and I will only be taking 6431 out of its box as the boxes are the exact same. So I ended up buying two models, 6434 and 6431. And they're both SD70s. Let's get 6434 out of the way and open up 6431. Walthers mainline boxes aren't much to look at, but that's okay in my books as presentation lasts 30 seconds. I only care about the model inside. Interestingly enough, the one side is actually sealed by the end of the box, and you can only open it from the opposite end. It was a very tight fit in there, which means the locomotive will be well packaged, and we have some instructions for the ESU digital sound decoder, which is lovely to have. Nothing on the back of it, but on the inside there's a good amount of information, including how to reset the locomotive if you need to, and some things about if you want to have 4-digit locomotive addresses. And there's also the typical, here's how you oil it, maintain it. They're kind of generic, here's how you maintain your locomotive. And again, lots of good information in here, along with a parts list. Getting the model out of its box, it's very well protected inside the foam, with a little bit of tape holding down the plastic cover. And I can see that there's foam holding the handrails in place so that you don't bend them. I just pulled the model out of its box by this plastic sheet. And bumped the camera. And let's get that out of the way. Taking a look at the model itself, I absolutely love the blue that's on it, along with the gray. It's a very lovely color. The chevron stripe on the back is well applied, and again, absolutely love it. And on the front, it's just as well applied. Let's take a look at it on the turntable. And with the model on the turntable, this model looks incredibly good. The paint is lovely, and I really like the chevron stripe on the rear. Plenty of details like the fuel level are picked out, and the trucks look good as well. Although the wheels are a little bit flat, I don't know if that's exactly prototypical, as I know basically nothing about anything past the 1960s. And to be honest, I really can't fault this model. At $125, I mean, it's an absolute bargain, it's an absolute steal. But while the model may look good, let's see if it actually runs good. Not a huge fan of that startup sequence, but I guess that's just a modern engine with a horn. F1 is the bell. F2 is the horn. Not sure why it's revving up, but I guess so be it. F4. F3 appears to be a coupler clank. Really interesting, there's no short horn. F4 is for dynamics, so it's not going to do anything at the moment. F5 does nothing. Oh, and I guess now it's spooling down, okay. F6 are the ditch lights. Not entirely sure why they're not coming on, but okay. F7 is a manual compressor. Okay, again, interesting. F8 should be mute. F8 should be mute. And never mind, I guess it just shuts down the engine. That horn is really annoying, I'm not gonna lie. I much prefer the old EMD ringing bell rather than that, but again, maybe that's just a new locomotive thing. And F9 is drive hold, which I believe that is you can control the locomotive's throttle notching while it stays at a consistent speed. And with all the sounds looked at, let's have a look-see at how well the locomotive can crawl. That's quite impressive, actually. Straight out of the box, no running in. That's actually really, really good. That's a good slow coupling speed, and it's only a little bit jerky. Let's see if it can do it in the forward direction. And indeed it can. I'm not sure why the prime mover is notching up, but... oh, there goes the compressor. That's really impressive. That is extremely impressive. Let me get both this locomotive and 6434 run in, and then we'll take it around the layout and see how well it does. Well, after running both models in, 6431 is not responding anymore. I've been trying to program it to the cab number. 6434 went just fine, but this one has decided no. Even setting CV8 to a value of 8 does nothing, and the locomotive got very hot to the touch where it was almost burning my fingers. So, 6434 will be doing the honors as it has no problems, and it is the exact same, so you'll still know what the model's like. 6434, clear to depart. Trainmaster out. So with 6434 still working, I must say overall, I can't see why these models sit around so much. They look good and run beautifully. I think the problem with 6431 is a decoder problem, which would be ESU and not Walther's fault. So I will ignore that, and I will see what Walthers tells me to do, or if ESU knows how to fix this. If you can pick up one of these mainline locos, I absolutely would. I bought both of my models for around 125 each from Walthers directly, and I may need to get one of the GP9s in Black Widow to see if it is a decoder problem or more just a one-off. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Trainmaster out.